You are listening to Venus Rose, interactive spiritual Q&A and the power of sound. Music is like sunshine. Hello, conscious souls. How are you feeling? Have I ever got into detail about why I always start the episodes with the same questions? What I learned on the spiritual journey is that our emotional body, the one that governs all our feelings, holds tremendous power. Everything is influenced by our moods and feels. But the other way around, it is also true that we can determine things through our emotions, most of the time without knowing or even noticing it. In my one-on-one sessions, I explore in depth what is possible if you know how to use frequency or change it. I want to bring awareness to this, bringing your conscious mind together with your heart by asking this question. Personally, I still feel the influence of the new moon. Yesterday was somehow strange. I received word from a friend that she's in town and had a funeral for her mom. Such news always put everything else into perspective. I am sending love and strength to everyone out there who is in a similar transitional situation. The equinoxes are here, almost equal length of day and night, since the sun is directly above the equator. There are many different ways that cultures all over the world have viewed and celebrated these moments during the year. In astrology, they celebrate the new year. The zodiac wheel starts a new round with the sign Aries, the number 1, the beginner. It is an ignition point. The sun is sliding into Aries currently while I am speaking to you. We have then 6 planets emanating their light within this zodiac sign, emphasizing the theme of fire and a fiery new beginning. I would like to kick off this Aries season with thoughts about leadership. With all that is going on in the world, I believe many people ask themselves what is happening in the minds of the leaders and why are they handling their circumstances the way they do. I like to start from within, question my own leadership qualities. To me, it is not a negative thing. I question everything in order to gain more perspective around any situation. People in general prefer or need different kind of leadership styles. That is clear to me. Religious factors and societies are playing a big role. Our subconscious mind, or like I love to say, superconscious mind, is trained to certain things that form patterns that we follow without noticing it. Our upbringing and even our DNA has an impact. If our ancestors have been under the thumb of an autocratic government, they passed it on to us, whether we are aware of it or not. Since I like to go deep, I want to start with reflecting about what qualities does a leader need to have that are essential. And I want to begin at the essence because every one of us has some of these traits within us. They are needed in life. I will go to questions about leadership from 2 women who are in these positions later. Not everyone is leading others in a work situation. but maybe you lead your dog on a leash. Since I work with horses and their owners, leadership is always a question that comes up. It is no coincidence that horses are often used when it comes to manager training. When I ask myself, what attributes should a character display that I would see leadership in? Authenticity, honesty, paying attention, having an overview, being able to listen, and the ability to process things simultaneously come up for me. Each one of these traits can be broke down into specific elements. Most important is the last one, because leading implies that there is more than one party involved, which always brings multiple things to the table. Being able to handle and somehow balance various factors at once without crumbling is a strength that anyone with leadership qualities should have. This is the kind of power that is most important to me personally. I am clear about the fact that someone can have all the attributes I just mentioned and still be a person I would never follow. I just want to point out what is at least necessary as basic requirements from my point of view. Others might need a different kind of toughness to be displayed in order to say yes to being led by someone. Intimidation and being aggressive are also ways to persuade people or animals to bow down to their will, so one can rule over them. For me, true leadership is emanated when beings follow out of their own will, because they can sense, whether conscious or subconsciously, that they feel at least some kind of safety around a specific person. One of the main reasons horses are good partners when it comes to manager trainings is that they measure things different than humans. We are easy to impress with visual effects. They are most certainly not. They sense if someone means what they say, whether it is friendly or something malicious. I'm not an expert on dogs, but I believe that although they may react differently, since they are predators in comparison to the horses as flight animals, they too do detect what is truly going on underneath any kind of mask we humans like to put on. That's why I mentioned authenticity earlier. If someone declares honestly to be brutal, they will have those who follow them for various kinds of reasons. Being able to maintain a clear head, stay calm and collected when things might go south, and still have the overview to give instructions for what is necessary to do, is a testimony of leadership. To be aware of your surroundings, not only of your immediate environment, but even further, comes in handy, not only when you work with animals, but with humans too. They feel more safe when they sense you checked and realized stuff. For people, having a vision and ideas to bring that to life is key. I chose 2 questions for today. Thank you for sending these in. I am sharing a leadership position with someone older than me. What can I do if we are not on the same page when it comes to certain selections? Thank you for your question And it is indeed not so easy to answer, 'cause I don't know if one of you has more weight when a decision is going to be made. When someone is older or even from a different generation than we are, there is in general a different way to view things. They grew up and learned to view things from another lens. The so-called zeitgeist plays a big role here. I would try to approach the situation first through finding out what is important to your colleague. Is the care more about the numbers or more about other things? Try then to paint specific affairs in a color that seems to be more of value to them. From a spiritual stance, to be recognized, understood, and in the best case, appreciated is mostly the key. When you can give your colleague this frequency with the appreciation for what she is doing positive with their expertise, perhaps it is a way to convince them to do things your way another time. Times have changed, and they do constantly. We all need to be on our toes and keep up adapting to a certain degree. The next question: how can I keep my employees motivated? I explain things regularly, but they are sometimes not executed properly. Thank you for your question. And communication is one of the major themes in being in a leadership role. Each being is different, and knowing what someone needs in order to get to listen in a way that they can fully understand is tricky. I mentioned paying attention and the ability to listen in the beginning of this podcast as an important trait for someone in a leadership position. This is a good example. If you know what moves them, you have a path to their attention. Maybe you could explain in more detail why a certain step is very much needed for things to be successful at last. Do you tell them if they did good? Oftentimes, things in general are taken for granted when we remind ourselves to give more praise. Yes, to ourselves too, but everyone. We can raise the vibration. That leads to an atmosphere in the workplace that is filled with more light, and with positive vibes, you have a better connection to the task at hand. All in all, we are the ones who influence our environment with what we emanate. Our emotions have a great impact. If we work on our own personal sovereignty, we automatically improve our leadership skills. I love to hear from you. Fiery Aries season, in the year of the fire horse, we are going fast. The themes are the physical body, the ego, courage, aggression, and initiation. You can leave things in the comments of my YouTube channel named Crystal Seraphim Sounds or my Instagram. For those of you who do not have social media and love to send questions or would like to book a one-on-one session with me to go on a soul sound journey exploring sovereignty, you can send me an email for further details. You can find everything in the show notes. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you a beautiful weekend. And as always, let me know what moves you. Love to you all. Rose.